Good morning, children. Today we are going to discuss about another important topic in the digestive system, histology of the gut. What is the topic name? Histology of the gut. This is the most important in the need point of view. Okay. So in last class, what we discussed the parts of the digestive system, right? The mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, like that we discussed, right? Now in this chapter, in this lesson or in this video, we are going to discuss about the histology of the gut. The study about the tissues, is called histology. The study about the tissues is called histology. So tissues of the gut we are discussing. The wall of alimentary canal. What is alimentary canal? Mouth to anus, a small tube-like structure or long tube-like structure, that is called alimentary canal. The wall of alimentary canal from esophagus to rectum, there are four layers are there. How many layers are there? Four layers. Number one is serosa. Number two, muscularis. Number three, submucosa, mucosa. The wall of alimentary canal, esophagus to rectum, buccal cavity, pharynx, okay, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum is there or not? Esophagus to rectum, four layers are there. They are called serosa muscularis, okay, muscularis, submucosa, mucosa, like that. The four layers are there. First, we will discuss about serosa. What is serosa? The serosa is also called visceral peritoneum. It's the outermost layer. Visceral peritoneum, it's the outermost layer. It consists of visceral peritoneum. Serosa is called visceral peritoneum. It's the outermost layer. What is this? Outermost layer is made up of thin squamous epithelium. The serosa is a visceral peritoneum. It's the outermost layer made with thin squamous epithelium with some connective tissues. Connective tissues are there. Okay. So very important. Outermost layer made with thin squamous epithelium. Thin. Squamous means you know very well. Simple epithelium. One line. So with some connective tissues are also there. Next one is muscularis. The second one is what? Muscularis. It's a smooth circular and longitudinal muscles. So circular muscles are there. Longitudinal muscle fibers also there in this muscularis with a network of. So muscularis consists of what? With a network of what you called the nerve cells, with a network of nerve cells and parasympathetic nerve fibers. Parasympathetic nerve fibers with a network of nerve cells and parasympathetic, sympathetic and parasympathetic, which are helpful for contraction and regulation of the systems. No, in the parasympathetic nervous system, nerve fibers, which controls which one? Peristalsis. What is the meaning of peristalsis? The contraction and relaxation. Peristalsis means the contraction and relaxation. That movement is there in the alimentary canal. So the muscle for smooth muscularis have smooth circular longitudinal muscle fibers. Smooth, not in our control. So with a network of nerve cells and parasympathetic nerve fibers which controls the peristalsis. Peristalsis means the movement will be there in the contraction relaxation which will helpful for the movement of the food. Next, the next layer, what is that? Submucosa. The submucosa layer is a loose, made with loose connective tissue containing nerves, blood, lymph vessels, and the sympathetic nerve fibers that controls the secretion of intestinal juice. Okay, will be there. So submucosal layer will be there. Submucosal layer, what is that one? It's also the loose connective tissue. Layer is formed by the loose connecting tissue containing nerve fiber, nerve. Okay, very important. And blood, lymph vessels, and that sympathetic nerve fibers. Here parasympathetic. Here sympathetic nerve fibers that controls the secretion of which one? It controls the secretion of intestinal juice. Intestinal juice secretion is controlled by the sympathetic nervous system. Next, another important last layer, what? Mucosa. The mucosa, innermost layer lining is called lumen of alimentary canal is the mucosa. Innermost layer lining the lumen of the alimentary canal is mucosa, which secretes the mucus. Mucosa secretes which one? The mucus. Okay, that is the most important point to remember. The innermost layer lining the lumen of alimentary canal is the mucosa, which secretes the mucus. Which secretes what? Mucus. Next, the digestive glands. Digestive glands, mainly there are two types of glands. Generally, how many types of glands? There are two types of glands. Exocrine glands are there, endocrine glands are there, right? Exocrine gland and endocrine. Exocrine glands have the duct. Exocrine glands have the duct. They can release their secretions into the blood through the duct to blood. But endocrine glands don't have any duct. They have hormones. They secrete the hormones through the without any duct. Through directly they will release the hormones into the blood. So endocrine glands, ductless glands, all digestive glands are exocrine glands. Exocrine glands means they have which one? The ducts. Exocrine glands, they have ducts. So enzymes are biological catalysts. What is the meaning of catalyst? Which won't involve in the reaction, but which increases the reaction. So catalyst, biological catalyst. So in the digestive system, especially digestive gland secretes the enzymes. Enzymes are the biological catalysts. What is the meaning of catalyst? Which will not increase, which will not involve in the reaction, increases the rate of reaction. That's a catalyst. Enzymes are really helpful for the hydrolysis. That means breaking down of the complex materials into simple materials, but that won't involve in the reactions. So the digestive glands, mainly there are different types of digestive glands. Salivary glands. Okay, there are saliva. Your mouth saliva is there or not? From there, from where that saliva is coming to the salivary glands. Okay, so next one, the liver, pancreas. Okay, and also stomach also have a gastric glands. They secretes the gastric juice. The stomach also have what you called gastric glands. They secretes the which one? The gastric juice. Very important thing you have to remember. Okay, children. So stomach wall has a gastric glands. Stomach wall have which one? The stomach wall gastric glands are there. So that one you should have to remember. The stomach wall also have gastric glands. They secrete which one? Gastric juice. You know, they have so many enzymes, renin, what you called what you called digestion of the carbohydrates, digestion of proteins, digestion of fats, related enzymes are also present in this gastric juice. Lipase and renin will be their main important. Next, intestinal mucosa. Intestinal mucosa means, you know very well, intestine region, mucosa is there or not? That intestinal mucosa secretes the intestinal juice. So intestinal mucosa secretes which one? Intestinal juice that contains so many enzymes. Next, first come to the salivary glands. Salivary glands. There are three pairs of salivary glands. What are the three pairs of salivary glands? Sublingual, submaxillary, okay, parotid. There are three pairs of salivary glands. Pairs, not a single. There are three pairs of salivary glands are there. Number one, what is called parotid glands. In which region? Check in cheeks. Okay, below the ear, the longest gland is salivary gland is parotid glands. You know, one by mumps virus. You know, mumps, small children will get the one disease called mumps. That mumps virus affects the parotid glands. So parotid gland infection only called mumps. At the time the children will unable to children will unable to open the mouth, and sometimes if the condition this is severe is more condition is more severe condition is more, that death also will take place in the children because they are unable to open the which one the mouth. Parotid glands infection only called mumps. So here salivary glands 3 pairs. Parotid glands are there in the cheeks region. The next one submaxillary or submandibular in the lower jaw. Submaxillary or also submandible or is there in the lower jaw. Sublingual beneath the tongue. Sublingual is there beneath the tongue. Okay, this is the most important. Sublingual means beneath the tongue is there. So Stenson's, now listen carefully, the parotid glands, submaxillary or mandibular, sublingual. So 3 pairs of glands. So there will be submaxillary or submandibular, both are same only, and sublingual also there in the particular mouth region. So the parotid glands, Stenson ducts, submaxillary water ducts, and what is called another important the sublingual. Okay, the sublingual have Bartholini's gland duct or duct of Rivinus also there. What are these? Stenson's duct, Wharton's duct, Bartholini's duct or duct of Rivinus. These are connected to salivary glands. So these all are connected to salivary glands, and the secretions of salivary glands, what saliva, they are entering into the oral cavity. How that is entering into the oral cavity? By these ducts only. So what is that? Parotid gland is related to Stenson's duct, submaxillary Wharton ducts, next sublingual Bartholini's duct or duct of Rivinus. Like that, 3 very important ducts, compulsory, very useful for all of us. What are those? Come on. Sublingual. Okay, what are the ducts name? Stenson's duct, Wharton's duct, Bartholini's duct or duct of Rivinus. These are very important ducts, which through these ducts, the salivary glands pours the saliva into the oral cavity or mouth. So next one, daily secretion of saliva from salivary glands ranges from 1000 to 1500 ml. 1000 to 1500 ml daily secretion. How much of the saliva? Salivary glands daily nearly 1000 to 1500 ml of the saliva will be secreted from the salivary glands. Very, very important. Okay, children, once again should listen very carefully. So, the wall of alimentary canal. We are discussing about histology of the gut. The wall of the alimentary canal is from esophagus to rectum. There are 4 layers are there. Number 1, serosa. Number 2, muscularis. Number 3, submucosa. Number 4, mucosa. Serosa is the visceral peritoneum. It's the outermost layer. It consists of squamous epithelium with some connective tissues. Some connective tissues also there. So muscularis, smooth, circular and longitudinal muscle fibers are there. Muscularis consists of or made with smooth, circular, longitudinal muscle fibers with a network of nerve cells and parasympathetic. Which one? Muscularis, parasympathetic nerve fibers which controls the which movements? Peristalsis. Okay. Next, come to the submucosal layer. How the are made with loose connecting tissue containing nerves, blood, lymph vessels, and the sympathetic nerve fibers. Here parasympathetic. Here what do you call it? The submucosal layer have sympathetic nerve fibers that controls the secretion of intestinal juice. So controls the secretion of intestinal juice is under which one? The submucosal layer. Next, innermost layer, the lining of the lumen of alimentary canal is the mucosa, which secretes the mucus. So lining of the which one inner lumen is there or not? That secretes the mucus, which is very important for the protection point of view. Okay, from HCl. Next, digestive glands. The digestive glands, number 1, exocrine glands. What is the meaning of exocrine glands? They have ducts. They have duct and the biggest glands which are helpful for the secretion of different fluids, different liquids. Okay. So next, the exocrine gland secretes the some biological catalysts. What are these exocrine glands? And our digestion process will be takes place through biological catalyst. You know very well hydrolytic enzymes. Enzymes are biocatalyst. What is the meaning of catalyst? Will not involve in the reaction but increases the rate of reaction. So biological catalysts are enzymes. Catalysts, enzymes. So there are digestive glands are there, salivary glands, liver, pancreas, stomach wall have gastric glands secretes the gastric juice, intestinal mucosa also there that also secretes mucosa, some glands, intestinal juice they secretes. Salivary glands have three pairs, parotid glands in the cheeks, submaxillary, submandibular is the lower jaw, mandibular or maxillary in the lower jaw, sublingual beneath the tongue, so Stenson's duct, Wharton's duct, Bartholini's duct, duct of Rivinus. Once again, Stenson's duct, Wharton's duct, Bartholini's duct, or duct of Rivinus will be there in the salivary glands. Daily secretion of saliva from salivary glands. Daily secretion of saliva from salivary glands ranges from 1000 to how much? 1000 to 1500 ml. 1000 to 1500 ml will be there in this particular area. Okay, children. So this is about the a little information about histology of the what is called histology of the gut. Okay, histology of the gut, very important. Need bits, what are those? Stenson's duct, Wharton's duct, and Bartholini's duct or duct of Rivinus. Okay, children. The next content is gastric glands. Gastric glands means you know very well the stomach. Gastric, whenever the word will come, you should remember that is related to stomach. Okay, the wall of the stomach is lined by gastric glands. So chief cells or peptic cells. So very important. The chief cells or peptic cells or zymogen cells. See how many names? Chief cells, peptic cells or zymogen cells in gastric glands secretes the gastric enzymes and goblet cell secretes the mucus. Okay, chief cells, peptic cells, zymogen cells. Cells, all the names are similar. Chief cells, peptic cells, zymogen cells secretes the cells in the gastric glands secretes the gastric enzymes and goblet cell secretes the mucus. The parietal or oxytic cell secretes the HCl. The parietal or oxytic cell secretes the HCl. Okay. The next one, intrinsic factor, HCl and intrinsic factor responsible for the absorption of vitamin B12 called that intrinsic factor is called Castle's intrinsic factor. What do you call that factor? Castle's intrinsic factor. Observe carefully. The gastric glands, the wall of the stomach is lined by gastric glands. They are chief cells or peptic cells or zymogen cells in the gastric glands secretes the gastric enzymes, and some more goblet cell secretes the mucus. The parietal or oxytic cell secretes HCl and intrinsic factor. This is intrinsic factor responsible for the absorption of which one? Vitamin B12. What is the scientific name of vitamin B12? Why B12? Where the B12 is there? The B12 is there. Very important. You know, in our large intestine and small intestine, some useful bacteria is there. They secretes this vitamin B12. The scientific name of vitamin B12 is called cyanocobalamin. Cyanocobalamin absorbed. Okay, the cyanocobalamin absorption will be takes place by the help of Castile intrinsic factor. So in our large intestine, some useful or symbiotic bacteria is also present. They are very important for the what you called our provide the nourishment and provide the what you called vitamins to us, to our body, like vitamin B12. So wall of the stomach is lined by gastric glands. Those gastric glands is important. Next, the chief cells, peptic cells or zymogen cells in gastric glands secretes the gastric juice, enzymes, and goblet cell secretes the mucus. The parietal or oxytic cell secretes the HCl and intrinsic factor responsible for the absorption of vitamin B12 called Castile intrinsic factor. Castile intrinsic factor.